Evening, everybody. We're here for another round of the ALTTPR spoiler log tournament here for SGLIVE. We've got Relkin and Andy facing off here in the winner's side of the bracket tonight. Both runners come in at 1-0. And the seed tonight, let me tell you, it's going to be something fun. Joining me tonight on commentary, we've got Drossi. Drossi, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm good. I'm really excited for this. This is not a matchup you expect to see in the second round, but it really just speaks to how strong all the runners in this tournament are.
I was going to say, when you limit it to, 16 players, then then it makes more sense that you have this kind of a matchup here in round two. And these guys are both just S-tier runners in terms of execution, in terms of their ability to handle a spoiler log and put together a route in the 15 minutes.
And in terms of having championships to their name.
Also that. So we're going to see them get started here very shortly, and we'll see, right from the get-go what direction these guys choose to go. It's like both are going to go with a link south start. Relkin going to pick up a heart piece there, and Andy going to forgo that, but both guys heading straight south.
Yeah, Andy forgets to start his timer. Okay, well then. But yeah, if you can route in 4 quick heart pieces over the course of a run, it can be really helpful, both because, on average, these runs get finished on like 7 hearts. So an 8th heart could be nice, and you can time it to get a free health refill if you really plan out your route.
Right, and both guys skipping the chest there, pulling the dam. We're going to go straight to this flooded item here and see what we've got outside the dam. I bet it's important. I think we're going to call that important there.
That's just somewhat important.
Now we're going to head east.
Relkin tossing the fish in the water for its reward. Now this is actually in the spoiler log.
And today it's very valuable because it's an 8 bomb pack, whereas Andy's going to farm some money there from the bush crabs.
Yeah, I don't know if the... I haven't checked. Is the bush crab, 7th throw also a bomb? Was Andy trying to get a bomb that way?
I don't believe so, no. The bush crab was an arrow refill as the extra item there, but it was red rupees, which allow him to buy bombs here. And I think... Relkin, I think, making the smart play there over, routing in that early Moon Pearl where, you go ahead and get that fish, from the dam area, and then immediately taking that and turning it into 8 bombs, whereas Andy's gone with a little bit more time-consuming route there to getting those bombs, as we see a glove there in the secret passage that both runners are heading towards.
Of course, at a bare minimum, Relkin will need pod money at some point in this seed, whereas Andy's almost at pod money.
Right. There will be, of course, with that rupee crab being the same for both runners, of course, there'll be opportunities for Relkin to pick that money up on the way as well, just maybe not, if we have to go to pod really early in this seed. But we see Relkin continuing on to the back of Escape here, and I can tell you that there's still more goodies to go in here. Which is why you wanted to see these runners get here, or why these runners wanted to get here as quickly as possible. There's a flute sitting in map chest, and we're not done just yet.
Yeah, always nice when you can get early movement items like flute and boots.
Yeah, and if you can get flute before you even make your first trip to Kakariko, that's always a really, nice benefit, especially without the boots, because you're saving a good, 30, 40 seconds there between a save and quit and walk to town by getting this early. Both runners doing a good job so far with their escape bomb strats here.
Okay, that guard nicely dropped a red rupee.
Yeah, shout outs to the 2021 main tournament for making us all learn our bomb starts.
Though I'm sure both of these runners knew them long before that.
Probably so. Relkin going with the classic 2-pot strat here for ball and chain guard. And he's going to have Mitt, so we have Dark World access just under 4 minutes on Relkin's side there.
With no weapons other than bombs.
With 3 bombs in hand and a flute, and yeah, no other weapons or anything else. That's okay. I bet we're going to find some more items soon. Continuing our trend here of staying close to the castle, Relkin's going to drop into the back here.
Well, I just looked at where the swords were. This is not pleasant.
They could be better swords than they are, but we're gonna get some swords eventually. Another save and quit to town here for Relkin. Andy gonna forego the back of escape for the time being here, since without a sword, that bombos doesn't really, speed anything up for him. And it looks like he's going to go straight into Blind Set here. Gonna see 4 chests to check today, and all of them kind of varyingly useful items, especially in the early game. That cape is going to be important later for reasons, but we also get a boomerang and a heart container and 50 extra bucks.
So, it's like safety hut.
Yeah, it's a very very pleasant 4 items there. Nothing you're disappointed to see, but on their own, nothing that really grants a ton in the way of progression. And we get a double flute activation for both runners here. A little bit of divergence here. Relkin going to come down and check the back of the tavern. And get the bow out of there. Whereas Andy is heading into Skull Woods. And
I mean, not that Relkin has any arrows or anything, but at least it's a weapon.
It is a weapon, yes. But Andy heading straight into Skull Woods here.
Well, we know that Pendant Skull Woods is always the solution, right?
Shoutouts to Dunka Woods. Relkin going to go south into the village here first, but Andy making his way directly to this big key chest. And with good reason. Meanwhile, we're going to see Relkin go first into Thieves Town. Andy getting the Book of Medora out of the big key chest. You can kind of guess by the fact that we went into Pendant Skull Woods for that. We're going to need that today.
Yeah, and given how quickly he went there, you can pretty well guess it's for desert and not for a tablet, since we already mentioned the swords are not great locations.
And Andy doing us a big favor there by scouting Desert Ledge, and we see why that book was such a priority. There's a desert, there on Desert Ledge sits the hammer. Meanwhile, we saw Relkin just doing the front of Thieves Town at this point, because no way to kill Blind or go any further in there without a weapon to damage the boss. But he did get the fire rod there out of the big key chest and gets a heart container out of C-shaped house in the village as well. Meanwhile, Andy foregoing all of the items here in Pendant Desert Palace entirely, just using it as a pass-through here for the hammer on the ledge.
Nevertheless, we've now entered 2 pendant dungeons before even seeing a single crystal dungeon, as Relkin, speaking of ledges, shows us why they both grabbed that cape.
Yes, so we have an ice rod up there, which we know will be required today with a crystal TR. Sitting there on top of Bumper Ledge, but don't worry, that cape is not done being useful for us. I will say that much. You might be wondering, hey, why did Andy need the book to do all that nonsense getting the hammer? Couldn't he just, we've got the mitts and the flute. Why didn't he just wait for Mirror to show up? Well,
yet another ugly location in the spoiler log.
Yet another ugly location. There's a few of them today, as you can kind of tell.
For instance, I mean, we know both of these runners would make a beeline for the boots if they were anywhere convenient.
Yeah, I think both these guys would very much appreciate Boots showing up early. Unfortunately, the seed had some other ideas today, so we'll get there when we get there, I think, is the plan with those boots. Andy heading into Thieves Town now. He's going to pick up his fire rod here, while Relkin goes to the back of Skullwoods here, or to the middle portion of Skullwoods, rather, to get his book.
So Relkin intentionally doing a Thieves double dip, whereas Andy, I'm guessing, has Hammer Blind on his mind.
Yeah, or he may be doing the same play here as Relkin, where he's just getting the front four and getting out of here. I think without boots and with no other progression here in Thieves Town, rather, you can put this off for a while and be able to do it faster, especially with it being pretty close to a flute point and a portal into the Dark World there. Oh, Andy, I stand corrected. Took the death, but was planning to continue through here. So,
did he just do it for the health refill?
I don't think so.
Or accident? Or, I mean, at 4 hearts, it can also very easily be accidental.
Yeah, no, I think that was the case, but yeah, he's gonna give this a go here.
I'm just amazed how much routing divergence we've seen already, and honestly, most of the spoiler races I've seen in this tournament, the early routing can kind of make or break the runners, and I honestly don't know whose routing is going to prove to be more efficient yet.
I think for the most part, these guys have done up until this Thieves Town, back of Thieves Town play. I think they've done largely the same things, just kind of crisscrossed or like weaved in and out of each other a little bit. But now that Andy is committed to finishing off Thieves Town here in one go, I think this is going to be a bit of a, not really a divergence so much in terms of ordering of things, but, Relkin's going to have the opportunity to do that dungeon much more quickly and much more safely, honestly, later on.
Especially when we see what he's about to grab out of Hype Cave here.
Yeah, so get a nice free 10-pack of bombs from the front here. But also a Kena Samaria and 2 heart containers here in Hype Cave. So that's going to make things a little easier when we get back there as well.
Yeah, Samaria blind and 7 hearts versus Hammer blind and 4 hearts.
Right, and that's assuming even that he doesn't wait until we get swords showing up and potentially even boots to make that, make that a much faster proposition.
But it looks like Relkin's going to take his hammer and bow and go to Pod, since he also grabbed Pod money in Hype Cave.
Yep, so the money routing working out very nicely there with that, the 50 rupees kind of adding up over the seed. Meanwhile, Andy, still sitting on full health here after, getting the hearts down in the maiden cell, and he's going to have a tough blind fight here, but this is something he's capable of for sure.
I actually wonder if Relkin's planning an early TR play, because he did make the point of getting all the TR necessary equipment. He picked up Bombos, and Andy hasn't. He picked up Samaria, Ice Rod.
Oh my gosh. Andy. Oh, that was such a clutch dodge. Holy cow.
And Andy's even realizing.
That was insane. Oh my god.
That's one great thing about requiring Cav, just seeing the runners' reactions to their own plays in real time.
Oh, dude. All right, so now I have to calm down from that and watch Relkin and Pod, which is just going to be a lot of keys for a little while here. Got one out of shooter room here to open up the front.
Well, that's always nice if you can avoid right side.
And we're figuring out a key route as we go, I think.
Especially since we still don't have the mirror. Oh, now Andy's going for the ice rod.
Yeah.
Makes sense while he's in the neighborhood.
Yeah, so in general, I think the runners are kind of evened up with what they've, in terms of items, at least, what they've checked so far. Andy still has to get the back of escape and get that bomb boost, but that's kind of whenever, he can do that whenever before he needs it. But Andy does have that Thieves Town clear up on Relkin at this point at the cost of, Relkin now being or at least part of the way through Pod here for some more required items.
So far, mostly keys. Looks like Andy is also making that Hype Cave play now.
Yep, so that'll get him his cane as well as a couple more hearts, assuming he, remembers to see those in the log and pick them up. Meanwhile, Relkin having some fun here in the Pod Arena. But shout outs to the No Logic tournament.
I know he likes to use the Samaria glitch to just dash through those orange blocks without having to hit the switch, but sadly, no boots yet.
Yeah. And again, we're going to see Relkin kind of go just slightly out of his way here for some safeties. Down here, I was wondering if he would come here into Dark Basement, and I'm curious if Andy will as well. Although I think I know that answer. We got Powder there in the left chest, and Half Magic there in the right.
That is a very nice safety basement. Yeah, Relkin definitely being a bit more careful about the safeties than Andy is. As right. Andy's already down to 1 heart and he hasn't even opened Pod yet.
Yep, and Relkin, I think, was thinking there for a second about setting up a hammer yump, but instead he's going to he's got the keys enough to do it, so he's going to go through Dark Maze the old-fashioned way. Gets a potion, a blue potion at that, from the top chest. And gets the big key with no problem. This is very well executed here to do this with no sword. Saw him kind of using the cape to get through the first part of the room. And, it was going well. I don't think...
Or was that just death warping out?
I don't think that was intentional. At least it shouldn't have been. Because Pod Big Chest was unchecked, and that had something he wants in it. Yeah, so we are seeing him go back as well.
Yeah, but now he can just hammer yump to it anyway. He's intentionally taking this damage so that he can death warp right after the hammer yump.
Right. Yeah, I don't think the first death there was intentional. I think he was struggling, maybe forgot to bomb open the door there and got stuck.
He only has 1 small key. So he's going to need that small key for... Oh, right. That was a bomb door. Yes, he's not too happy about that. Got it.
Yeah, I think he was trying to find the door there, and then the Kadongos there in the Dark Maze just ganged up on him at the same time that he was trying to find the door. But he's still going to have at least a little bit of a time advantage, again, kind of buffered by that Thieves Town clear that Andy did. A little bit of an advantage here, as we go through Pod, and we'll have to see how that kind of evens back out when Relkin gets over there later in the race.
Fortunately for both these runners, this is the winner's bracket still, so the loser is not eliminated. And also, the winner's reward is they get to face Gamma in the next round.
What a reward.
Didn't actually check if we know yet who the loser's facing in the next round.
Yeah, so we've got Andy heading into the back of Escape here. We'll see what pathing he chooses here. If he goes for those safeties, looks like he is... Yeah, it looks like he is setting up for it.
Oh, here we go. The loser will have a much easier time. The loser of this race only has to face Schultzer.
I don't think that's what easy means.
I don't know. It's really a pick your poison. I mean, you have 2 top runners here. The winner has to face another top runner, and the loser has to face another top runner.
Yeah, and a good job by Relkin there. Fire Rod makes that turtle kill room not too bad, but Relkin finds the torch in that room, gets things cleaned up very nicely there. And now Helmasaur going to play very nice worm in phase 2 there and just stay still and take all 8 of those arrows. So very nice Helmasaur kill for Relkin there. Meanwhile, we're seeing Andy's turn at navigating the Dark Maze swordless. Gets to that big key, but has taken some damage along the way here. I see him going with the some Maria strats there. And using that to good effect.
Getting a bit of a music change there. I wasn't expecting that. Andy using the Tunic MSU.
But yeah, Andy does get that sword out of the big chest as well.
And Relkin doing the Ice Palace play.
Yeah. Only it's we don't have flippers yet, so
yeah, we will need them eventually. Swamp is a crystal, but they're probably in some inconvenient place too.
Probably so. Probably so. Relkin heading to Ice Palace here. So another crystal dungeon that we can complete on the way here. But we're still, even for, 22 minutes in almost, we're still a few items from Go mode here. We're missing 3 required items for Swamp Palace, for example.
Yeah, haven't seen the hook shot either, or the mirror.
Yeah. We did see Relkin open up that first chest there for the big key, so looks like that's telling us exactly what route he intends to take through this dungeon, as there's nothing really important in the big chest today.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get an early big key, why go out of your way to hit the switch?
Yeah. He's gonna grab the key here, and I believe in the next room, and that'll get him enough to run through without having to do any of the switch hitting shenanigans. This room just miserable to do without hookshot or boots. Meanwhile, Andy was going with some poke hammer hits there on phase 2, but got down to 2 hearts and decided to be safe and use that potion. So that's one safety that's going to be missing for Andy for the rest of this one. Of course, he will have he did pick up that half magic, so, shouldn't get into too much trouble with the magic usage, but if he finds himself in a bind with health later on, Relkin having both an extra heart in the tank as well as that blue potion in the pocket could come in handy for him.
And honestly, like, in the time it took Andy to do that, Relkin's at Cold Stare. So we're gonna stay pretty even on the crystal count here.
Yes, we are. Bombo's finally going to come into play here for Relkin.
Yeah, nice to have all those Fire Rod shots. He could probably do the whole fight on Fire Rod.
Yep, and he very much did.
He got one Fighter Sword spin in for good measure, just to get Puffs in the
That
corner.
was just for positioning, but now you see why we needed to get the hammer, because that mirror was locked behind the hammer here on Cold Stare. So there's another piece of our Swamp Palace access at that point.
Just to answer a question in chat, we need Bombos for Turtle Rock, so Andy very definitely has to get it sooner or later. And the runners will need to pick up Ether as well to get into Mire.
So now that we have that mirror in hand, we can finally... Well, we could have headed up here a while ago, but now we feel a bit more compelled to head up to the Death Mountain for the first time. No Old Man Rescue today.
Hookshot's probably on the mountain, because otherwise, I haven't actually looked where it is, but why would you take this route?
Well, it is on the mountain, but we didn't technically need that mirror for it.
Oh, I see. But it will help with routing.
Yes, it is going to make this routing much nicer here. Relkin going to wait on that and head over here to... It looks like we're heading straight to Turtle Rock.
Well, as I said earlier, he did make a point of getting that Bombos early. Because Andy still doesn't have Turtle Rock as an option until he gets the Bombos.
Right. Meanwhile, Andy having the same struggles with ice physics in Link to the Past as Relkin did, and as any of us who have played this game have.
You mean you don't just automatically succeed in the rail clip every time?
No, I do not.
Though it is fun when people get it.
Oh, yeah. Shoutouts to people that can get it, but not me. So Andy going to be fighting Cold Stare here as Relkin enters Turtle Rock.
Puffs are getting a little bit away from Andy here, but with the half magic, he's still able to get through it no problem.
And Relkin remembering the impossible strat of going the correct way through the roller room maze there on the platforms, and just going to get a couple of small keys out of those chests.
Nice to get small keys early. Maybe that means we can skip Laser Bridge.
Yeah, I think it's very unlikely that we'll see Laser Bridge today. But we are going to see a little bit of an interesting route through this one, because we do have down here in the compass chest another small key. So 3 small keys in the front here.
Wow, when do you ever see that?
Not all that often. Andy going to pick up his Bombos now.
So that gives a bit of time back to Relkin, since for the moment Andy's up a crystal.
Correct, yeah. Relkin gonna pass up the compass there in the Chain Chomp's chest, which means, of course, that our big key is vanilla today. So we will need all 4 of these small keys to progress through Turtle Rock.
By the way, since we've shouted out the opponents that these runners will face next, we should also mention who they had to beat to get here. Relkin took down Moogle Charm, and Andy took down Aussie. And the two of them had a heck of an elimination match yesterday that Moogle Charm won by about half a minute.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I missed that race.
So Aussie, who won the last spoiler tournament, wound up going 0-2 in this one.
It's insane how far, like, the just level of execution and routing and everything is in this tournament. And these two guys, like, you know, it's kind of crazy that one of them is going to be sitting down at 1-1 and facing off with Schultzer in an elimination match. It's just like,
I mean, that was a heck of an upset. Vortex beating Schultzer, though Schultzer was basically in that match was taking too many risks on doing stuff on low health and wound up taking a few boss deaths.
Yeah, and that just happens sometimes in these races. You're kind of walking the thin line, you know, so tightly there, and then, you know, if you go off, it's real easy. As we see the Force Smolky there in the big chest for TR. It's real easy if you get thrown off to just kind of, you know, for things to snowball really quickly, especially if it's, you know, one bad death that sets you back a few minutes, or, you know, one routing mistake where you've invested time in something that you can't do. It can, you know, it's really, really difficult to overcome, you know, a mistake at any point in one of these, and you're constantly like on the verge of making mistakes in this.
And especially because also the psychological, because, you know, the margins are so tight here. Once you make a mistake, then you can really easily get tilted by, you know, you let your mistakes compound.
Right. And one thing that is different about spoiler log racing versus other modes is that you are allowed to watch your opponent stream and know where they are as you're racing.
You're also allowed to watch this stream.
That's correct. And Relkin did prove me wrong by giving us a quick glimpse of Laser Bridge there, and then realizing that we weren't actually doing Laser Bridge. There is a Kana Burna there. I don't expect Andy to pick that up either.
There's also a shield. I'm sure that's what Relkin was contemplating.
Yeah, there were actually two shields today in Turtle Rock. One that we skipped in Crystal Roller, and one that we skipped on Laser Bridge for some reason. But now we have a Hammer and Fighter Sword Trinex fight. And Relkin going to aggressively attack that ice head to make sure that it doesn't put anything down on the floor, and then come back for this fire head.
Unfortunately, he couldn't switch back to the ice rod before the... Well, actually, he would have had to switch to hammer anyway, or do fighter sword spins, so yeah, probably didn't really matter.
That was very nicely managed there on his side, and now just needs to clean up the second phase here, which is at least arguably the easier of the two.
And very nice, clean,
very smooth there with the hammer kill. And now we will see why we were prioritizing TR all along. That's right, it's boots on Trinex.
Because where else would you put the boots, right? Wouldn't want them someplace too easy for these runners.
Exactly. Now Relkin, we're going to see what routing he continues with here.
Yeah, is he going to do Hera while he's up here, or save that for right before GT?
Yeah, that's a question of whether he wants to do Hera right now. We are going to get a trip into Hookshot Cave here. Put those boots right to work for us and get the lamp out of the bonkable chest in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Relkin, like, that's probably a wash with how much time the lamps
I was gonna say, with Back of Mire, I think that's more than enough time save.
And certainly it's a good safety, like, it removes the risk of getting lost in Dark Mire, and we already saw Relkin get a bit lost in Pod Dark Maze, so.
Yeah, and you might have kind of caught me teasing it earlier, but when I said we didn't need the mirror to access the hookshot up here, I meant it. It's sitting there in Spike Cave, so that Kate played both for the ice rod at Bumper Cave and for that hook shot.
And we're doing a psych start now, probably for King's Tomb. Yep.
Yes, we are definitely heading to King's Tomb. Because inside of King's Tomb, we have something valuable that we will very much want.
So now Relkin's probably gonna do Thieves Town, I would think. No?
I think he could...
Meyer, okay.
He can do Thieves Town kind of at any time, but he doesn't have any real incentive to do it. You know, now versus once he's in go mode. We're going to see him head into the Meyer area here. We cannot get into Meyer at this time, so you can't see it, or you can see it on the tracker there, that we still do not have that ether, and now we have ether.
Because key under the doormat, no one's ever seen that before.
Something, why is that there, etc., etc. But yeah, now we're going to go into Meyer.
Also, shout-outs to our tracker, Scupula, who is really having to click buttons like crazy and, you know, nicely loaded all the pendant and crystals and the medallion requirements before the race even started.
Yes, and now Andy's going to have his fighter sword and hammer Trinex fight here. We'll see if he approaches it any differently. Going with some backdoor strats here, so already a little bit different. But going to get that firehead down very quickly. And then everything is fine. Everything is just fine.
Oh, is there a Trinex there?
Well, I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, now we've made it through. Andy taking a little sip of relief there.
I mean, phase 3 is the easy part for these runners, right?
Something like that. But Andy gonna get his boots and get his 4th crystal, just under the 36-minute mark there. While Relkin, we see him hitting the switch and getting the key from the berry there, but still waiting to see what route he's gonna take here through the rest of Meyer. Gonna pick up the small key there from the lobby chest.
Oh no, Relkin trying for the rail clip and accidentally turned around and went through the door.
Into the bomb slug room. Gonna swing back by over here to the map chest, which is a good idea, because map chest has our flippers in it today. So now we are finally on Relkin's side in go mode officially at 36:38, I guess. But still an extra dungeon clear left to do against Andy, who did finish off Thieves Town early on, as Andy gets his hook shot and finishes up his mountain trip as well.
Of course, we are looking at Master Sword Silverless, unless there is another sword or another bow along the way.
Yeah, you know these guys will be looking for either at least one of those, and I'm sure they'll be happy to make some concessions if necessary on the way to pick up a tempered or silver arrows if they were to show up. And chat pointing out something that we didn't acknowledge there, but Andy gonna skip the lamp out of Hookshot Cave, trying to, I think, make up a little time there.
That does not surprise me at all, even if, even if the runners were pretty much even and very clearly even, I would expect Andy to skip the lamp.
Right,
I'm not knowing his style.
I would say just seeing how the two of them have routed through this, so far, I'm not surprised at that difference. We did have a vanilla big key in Meyer, so a bit of a runaround today in this dungeon with the map chest and the big key chest both having requirements.
I mean, it's pretty clear Relkin got the map for doing the lamp for doing these few rooms.
Yeah, and this is going to work out nicely for him, being able to do spooky in all 3 rooms here. to get through the back as quickly as possible, whereas Andy's going to have to do it by feel. Dark Spooky in that first room is, maybe Andy viable, but it's not Will viable, if that makes sense.
I mean, I'm sure Andy can do Dark Spooky. Relkin doing the slash away strat because nice game functionality. If you're wearing the cape, as long as you're slashing with the sword, you don't actually drain magic.
Yep, so gonna take out the last few eyes here, getting a little bit extra damage there on the big eye as well, and then use arrows here to finish off the fight. So that will tie Relkin back up in the spoiler count at this point, while Andy is still making his way through the rest of the dungeon.
And both runners still have Swamp and Hera to go, and of course Relkin still needs to do Thieves, but hey, he'll have a sword for blind so he can do the script, and he has the boots so he can get through Thieves faster than Andy did.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I think where you're going to see kind of a little, obviously, Andy's going to make up time there whenever Relkin has to go into Thieves Town, because that's something that Andy's done, as we said. But I think, the swords, the boots, having everything at your disposal for Thieves Town, you're certainly going to have a comfier, time with it than Andy did on Four Hearts and Swordless, right? So, if nothing else, there's peace of mind involved.
But since, as you said, Thieves Town, at this point, you can just do it anytime. Relkin's prioritizing Swamp, get it out of the way.
Yeah, and there might be a little bit of value for us here in Swamp Palace as well, even though we are in go mode.
To answer chat, this is a double elimination bracket, so each matchup is best of one, because you just go to the loser's bracket if you lose.
Yep, Andy taking a slightly different route there through Mire, but going to get the map chests and the flippers from the north here. And going to pick up good awareness there to pick up the arrows there from the Sun Prize on the Stalfos.
Yeah, Relkin's probably going to need arrows at some point.
Yeah, so that's, it's kind of funny that Relkin had the awareness to use the fish save early on to get the bombs that kind of saved him some time over Andy and routing in the very start of the seed. But now, Andy making better use out of that knowledge from the spoiler log on the that we've seen in terms of the stun prize here.
Andy also not having too much trouble in Darkmire Basement. Though it looks like he doesn't have Spooky and is doing this the old-fashioned way, so that's going to cost him some time.
Yeah, and I think that's where we see that lamp is going to come back to actually save Relkin quite a bit of time here, with Andy having to do not just kind of dark strats here, as we see a tempered sword in the flooded room of Swamp. Not just the time gained in terms of seeing where you're going and everything, but also time saved from the Spooky, time saved from not having to do 2 extra screen transitions and wait for a bomb to explode, et cetera, et cetera. I think that all adds up there pretty significantly.
Andy preferring spin strats from the outset here. It is nice that you can still do spins with the cape on. And he also has plenty of arrows, so...
Yep, and we're getting simultaneous boss fights from both runners, as Relkin is on to phase 2 of Argus. Both giant eyeball bosses exploding at the same time.
So that is crystal number 5 for both of them.
And maps falling from the ceiling for both of them. So yeah, now it's really kind of the time of, Andy needing to do a go mode Swamp Palace. Relkin needing to do a go mode Back of Thieves, having the big key already in hand. And then both of them needing to do Hera and, find the big key, do the climb in GT.
Neither of these are going to be super fast, though at least there's nothing on left side swamp, so I fully expect Andy to grab the tempered sword, because that would just be silly to turn down a tempered sword that's right on your way.
Yeah. No way you're intentionally skipping, I think, that sword at this point, but does feel like Relkin is still a little bit ahead here, given kind of, even though Go Mode Swamp is considerably faster than the alternative of, a full clear swamp, it's still moderately, time consuming, especially with, the time to open the dam and everything like that up and doing the extra mirror transitions. It's still a pretty significant time sink. I think we're going to see Relkin probably in the 1 to 2 minute ahead range once we are, opening up GT at this point, unless we have some sort of disruption to either runner's race, that like a death or something like that would put them off.
Which is seeming less and less likely at this point as they, are a bit better equipped than they were earlier.
Yeah, 7 and 6 hearts are not the comfiest margins by any stretch, but you've got Tempered Sword, or at least Andy will very shortly here. You've got Cape and Half Magic to get you out of any real jams on the climb. You're not looking too bad here, as long as you don't take any surprise. 2 to 4 heart damage basically is what's going to get you, really.
So assuming Relkin is ahead by, say, a minute coming out of their 6th dungeons, you think it's just routing mostly? I mean, I know the lamp made a little bit of a difference in terms of spooky, but that's maybe 10-15 seconds.
Yeah, it really felt like I think Relkin's decision to wait on Thieves Town was the correct one. I even though Andy pulled it off successfully, and shoutouts to him for some amazing execution in doing so, by doing that hammer blind fight and getting through the dungeon on 4 hearts, it still was a much slower trip through the dungeon, both without boots and with having to go out of his way to be very careful in some of those rooms, versus Relkin, who's getting to dash through everything with a sword in front of him.
Now, that said, I think it's a lot tighter than a minute, given where they each are in the dungeons.
You might be right, but yeah, this actually may be less than a minute after all. Blind is going to be a faster fight, though.
His crystal sooner, but
yeah, I think really the early advantage came in that the bomb routing that happened, whereas Relkin did the fish toss and got the 8 bomb pack, and then immediately was able to go into Hyrule Castle and was just clearly ahead, getting in there on relatively equal footing, other than a slight rupee disadvantage that never really materialized in any other way. So there's Crystal 6 for Relkin. Andy going to get his 6th crystal, about 20 seconds later here, in terms of actual crystal grab?
Yeah, so I didn't see the crystal grab time, but Relkin lifts the crystal at 46:55. Andy's on his fanfare, 47:07, so about 12 seconds difference.
Okay, yeah, then this is much closer than I realized.
Yeah, so honestly, that's just a difference of, getting Spooky and Mire and not getting Spooky and Mire. That, the routing probably did save Relkin some time, but he gave some of that back with the death in pod.
Yeah, both runners did have one unintentional death. Relkin's in pod, Andy's in front of Thieves Town. Both probably cost a similar amount of time. If anything, Relkin's maybe was slightly costlier in terms of having to, go back to the back of pod and do the hammer jump over. But this is still, we're almost in the same room of Paradox together. So very, very, very close here, and any number of things that could swing it here at the end.
Yeah, fortunately, neither of them has gotten deadrocked.
You almost
fate.
spoke just too soon there, sir. Yeah, both runners still going to have to clear Hera, but it's going to be a very quick Hera pod up the tower and a Moldworm kill for both runners. Nothing in Hera that we will spend any time getting otherwise.
Okay,
And
Relkin gets the Harapot.
good clean hook speed Harapot there from Relkin.
Both of them having a little trouble getting the hook speed.
Yeah, but that's just... I think they're both trying to go as fast as possible, which means touching the stairs on the lowest possible pixel, basically. Very
Yeah.
clean fight there from Relkin. Nothing from the Troll Dorm today.
I think we're up to about 16 seconds difference now. Crystal Grab at 49.14.
And I think that was a very slightly faster, maybe like 1 to 2 seconds faster on Relkin's side Moldorm fight.
Yeah, so 17 seconds now for the 1 second faster Moldorm fight.
But yeah, so now we're heading into GT. We're going to be looking for a big key that we can climb with. And if we can, we'll look for silvers or look for another sword on the way. But yeah, we're going to head left here on Relkin's side, and we're not going to have a very long search for the GT big key today.
If you guessed 1, you would have been right even in a normal seed.
Exactly.
Relkin, of course, still needs the small key here before going upstairs. Good to always remember that.
So yeah, now it's down to a low heart NMG climb. Relkin gonna pull out the cape there just for safety, not to spend a third heart out of 7 there in the first room of the climb.
You mentioned NMG, by the way. We should give a shout out to both of these runners' phenomenal NMG times. I looked it up before the race. Relkin is 124.34. Andy is 124.37. So effectively the same, though Andy did have trouble in that first room of the climb. So that's going to give Relkin a little bit more of a buffer.
Yeah, he went the safer route there, but got a little bit caught there up in the top left corner and had a little more difficulty getting out of that room. So now about a 2-room lead here as Relkin heads into the gauntlet proper. And mostly nice and clean so far. Very nice gauntlet. Now we're going to see on Andy's side the same thing. Andy down to 2 hearts here, so gonna have to be careful.
Relkin doesn't manage the 0 cycle Landmo, but he does get it on the 2nd cycle. I never know whether that's like a 2 cycle or a 1 cycle, how you define it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They're the NMG guys; they'll tell you. But I think they call it a 2 cycle. Very nice 1 cycle there from Andy on Landmo, can make up a little bit of time back. Whereas Relkin is already up to Wizrobes 2 here, and just very, very clean from both runners here.
Yeah,
so far.
that was probably Andy making back the time he lost in the first room of the climb.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a pretty steady margin here with both runners just nice and clean here. A little bit of a hiccup there, missing the lamp on the top torch there in Torches 2. Relkin does recover it, but he is going to have to be a little careful.
But, this is one of those occasions where it's nice that Relkin picked up the lamp, because it does give him a bit more flexibility in his magic usage.
We're going to see the mini Helmasaur key play here today. Ooh, Andy getting down to an empty magic meter.
That was close.
Also getting down to 1 heart there, but does get a heart drop. And we see silvers there in the pre-Moldorm chest.
Well, that's sure on the way.
So that's sure convenient, right?
Very nice hookshot invincibility used by Relkin as the Moldorm runs him over so that he can
Yeah.
Take the swing as soon as Mulder runs by. Oh, Andy fails the hover. That would have made it so close if Andy had gotten the hover.
That was his last, I think, really good opportunity to close the gap heading into Ganon there. And you saw Andy kind of adjusting his posture there, getting his hands into position for it. Gets it very cleanly there the second try, but still a little bit of a time loss there with the one fall on the hover, as Relkin goes 0 for the first cycle of Aga 2, but gets a very nice setup here for, well, a nice setup minus the blue ball on the second cycle.
That probably gave Andy 6 seconds back right there. Nice double again.
Yep. So a 4 cycle for Relkin, recovering there. Andy gets 2 on the first one, so if he can match Relkin's second and third cycles here, then he will save a cycle and probably about 6 seconds back here on Aga 2, like you said.
Yep.
And it looks like he did. So a nice 2-2-2 for Andy, following the 0-2-2-2 by Relkin. But Relkin going to be first here into Ganon. And one Ganon hug will kill either of our runners. Andy is OHKO to everything in this room. Relkin has at least a hit to give to the fire bats, but... And looks like a nice, clean first cycle there, and very nicely set up there for the second cycle to get the 1-1 for Relkin.
Yeah, Relkin needs the 1-1 to keep his lead, but he got it. And Andy needs the 1-1 to have any chance here.
Yep, looks like the same success for so far. Andy just, God, he's killing those dash strats there. But yeah, Relkin just slightly ahead still here. Going to come down to who can get the cleaner phase 4 kill.
Yeah, triple could decide it.
We're going to get a double setup there on the bottom for Relkin. Going to get a very nice setup here for 2 more shots.
And that'll get your GGs in. Wow, that was exactly the phase 4 Relkin needed to clinch the victory.
Yeah. Very, 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 very clean race up the tower there from both runners. And Andy going to finish up with the exact same 4 hits there. Going to come in second in this race. GG's to both runners.
And the official race times here, we have a 19-second difference. Relkin getting 56.21, Andy getting 56.40.
So yeah, Relkin will stay undefeated in this tournament, 2-0, and we'll face off against Gamachu in the next round. And then Andy still alive in the tournament. This is double elimination, so he is now at 1-1, and we'll face off with Schultzer in the next round.
Oh, Andy's saying that that first room in the GT climb, he had a phantom input on his controller.
Oh.
I'm reading their chat in the race room.
Well, yeah, that's an even better job to recover from controller issues in a spoiler race of all places.
Well, since they're discussing it anyway with each other in the race room, let's see if we can get them in here to discuss it.
But yeah, while we've got a little bit of downtime here, big shout out to our tracker Scupula for helping us out today. Only an hour of work, but a very fast and frenzied hour of work for sure. A lot of items to click off on the trackers and keeping up with both runners, as well as keeping pendants and crystals marked and everything else for us. Did a great job today, and really appreciate the help.
And Relkin's saying he needs a minute, but we are joined by Andy. GG.
GG.
And here's Relkin. GG.
GG.
That was a heck of a race. I mean, you guys had quite a bit of routing divergence, most notably when you each did Thieves Town. So I guess why don't we start with that?
Well, my route was bad. This one, I don't know. It just like, I think I realized that I needed book too late in my like note taking time. And I ended up just like, I decided to go get the book first to do hammer. So I was like, well, I don't have a weapon for Thieves Town. I had forgotten that desert was a pendant, and so like I wanted to get that fire rod, and then I realized it wasn't. But I still went and got the book instead of like I probably should have gotten bow and gone straight to pod to get the sword first, and then done like Thieves Town there or something. I don't know, but I didn't die to blind with 4 hearts and a hammer, so that's okay.
Yeah,
you had some impressive boss fights.
that was a major gamer moment there, getting through that Thieves Town. I'm not sure if it was technically the fastest way of doing it, but it was sure entertaining for everyone to watch.
So this scene was just really awkward.
Yeah, no, it was lots of almost everything other than like the boots. It seemed like was either in the overworld or mostly free in a dungeon. That like the boots and the flippers, I guess. But yeah, so the early game routing was kind of interesting, just from both of you guys wanted to immediately get to Hyrule Castle and get Mitts and Flute out of there. But the way that you guys went about getting the bombs at the very beginning was actually different from each other. I don't know if you guys had even pulled up each other's streams yet to see at that point in the race, but Relkin, you took advantage of throwing the fish there after getting the Moon Pearl, and that I think saved you a good bit of time in the early part of the seed with the resource management. Have you actually? How often do you get to use the fish save in this mode?
Yeah, it's not very often because that's like only the second time I feel like. Yeah, and it was super convenient too, because if something is in the dam, or like actually if you have to pull like the water, like to release the water and get the item there, or you have to like do mini Moldworm Cave and there's like nothing else good and you want to go there immediately, then sometimes fish save can help.
I don't think I've ever saved a fish once in my life, so I was definitely not attempting that.
No love for the fish.
If that fish wants it, if he wants to swim so bad, he can do the screen transition himself, right? But yeah, I mean, obviously the time difference in when you guys did Thieves Town kind of masked how close this was. We actually, on commentary, I was thinking it was like, maybe a minute or two gap. But once we saw you guys finish up, respectively, Andy, you at Swamp, and then Relkin at Thieves Town, and saw that it was about, under 15 seconds difference at that point. Did both of you guys have that same kind of realization there when, watching each other's streams or the restream, kind of trying to figure out where you were in the race at that point?
I opened up the restream when I was going into Swamp, and I was like, Relkin had like just entered Thieves Town pretty much, and so I knew I was a little bit behind, but not by much. But yeah, up until then, I didn't look at all.
Yeah, same for me. I pulled up basically on the same time after I finished Mire. Finished Swamp. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, Relkin, you had a 12-second lead when you finished Thieves and Andy finished Swamp. And then it was just a matter of who was going to execute cleaner for the rest.
And both of you guys did have very, very clean in-game execution. Andy, I know you kind of mentioned you had the controller issue there in the race time chat. But even recovering from that was still a very impressive climb. And, but for that one hover fall there on the first try, that could have been, almost dead even going into Ganon there.
Yeah, I saved the Nagatu cycle, I think.
You did,
and yeah,
yes.
the hover fall, I tried to save it. I could like tell that my grip wasn't good on the first attempt, and I just didn't hold up long enough, and
Right.
I got sucked
Yeah,
into
I
the
saw
pit.
you kind of like actually try and bring it back to the ledge there, and yeah.
But yeah, that's how it goes. I really didn't want to walk up to just Spike Cave on Death Mountain just to get hook shot and then save and quit. And I think that was probably a bad decision. I ended up doing ice before Turtle Rock.
You both did.
Interesting. I think
Yeah,
I think you probably should do Spike first, and then you just get boots, and then you can not cry while walking through Ice Palace. I guess. but I don't know. It's tough. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, and I ended up just deciding to do ice after Pod or whatever it was.
Yeah, I guess the other thing, Relkin, you went and got the lamp after TR. Can you talk a bit about that? Because it seems to have helped you out quite a bit in Dark Mire.
Yeah, because I still had Mire, and sometimes, doing spooky is rough without lamp. And so it's like, you know what, it's one check. I can do it pretty fast here. So just why not go ahead and get it? And also, using lamp is a little easier in Torches 1. I still messed it up, so I was felt a little bad there, but yeah, just lamp will just make spooky way easier in Mire. That's pretty much the only reason I got it, though.
Yeah, I got hook after boots, so I did not have. I could have gotten it with boots, but I didn't want to. So I just forewent the lamp, and
that's the other thing, is actually getting the hook would allow you to do TR torches faster, because you could hook and take the fall.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I had the health and magic to leave Spike Cave, and I wasn't entirely sure if the whole time I was trying to figure out if it was better to save and quit out of Spike Cave or not.
I mean, at that point I probably would have just gone just to do Spike Cave, and then just save and quit, did Turtle Rock to get boots, and maybe lamp, and then go to ice. But yeah, I don't think leaving Spike Cave was what the would be the right thing to do there.
Yeah, probably
if
not.
You got mirror.
But oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, I always like a seed like this one that kind of, you're still trying to figure out what the optimal route is even after the seed. Like, did we actually do that the fastest way? I like a seed that kind of gives you a few options like this one did. So, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, this is not the end of the tournament for you, Andy. You will still be alive. Your reward, unfortunately, is that you face off with Schultzer in the lower bracket of this tournament. Best of luck with that.
That's fine. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
And Relkin's victory prize is to face off against Gamachu in the next round.
Yep. You know it.
I when I saw this bracket, I called whoever lost this race to just run losers bracket for the rematch in the finals. So hopefully that's what ends up happening.
Yeah, me too. I hope that's what happens. It means I beat Gamma, and then I probably beat Zelga or Vortex, whichever one comes out on top of that one.
All right, who's Zelga? I've never heard of that guy before.
It was some guy that was trying to type in Zelda and then misspelled it. I don't know what his deal is, but anyway, he's in this tournament too. No, we love Zelga. He's a great guy and a great runner, as well as is everyone, pretty much everyone in this tournament here. Any final thoughts from you guys before we wrap it up here?
I don't think so. GG's, Relkin again. Good luck against Gamma. Thanks for common, restream and tracking, etc. Yeah.
Yep. Same to you, Andy. GG's, buddy. And yeah, good luck and get shoulder. And yeah, like you said, I hope we meet again because that would mean it'd be finals. Well, I guess it could be semis, loser semis, or losers finals because it's double elimination. But either way,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, in any case, best of luck to both of you going forward. And if you're somehow not already following these runners, please give them a follow.
Yes, for sure. Do you have the schedule up in front of you? I believe there's one more race today, if I'm remembering right.
Let me check. Yes. Starting in 40 minutes on SpeedGaming 2, we have Telethar versus Matt7898.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go downstairs and cook some popcorn up for that one because that'll be a very fun time as well. And we've got lots more from the spoiler log tourney here left to go. We'll wait and see if these guys get their promised rematch in the finals, or if someone else decides to step up and knock down one of these two runners. It's going to take a strong effort for anyone to do so, but it's a strong field as well. So.
Well, let's remember, in terms of this batch, Relkin is the SpeedGaming 2020 winner, and if you tune into SpeedGaming in 40 minutes, Matt is the SpeedGaming 2021 winner, so this tournament still has a lot of strong players left in it, and anyone has a shot.
For sure.
But I think that's going to do it. Will, I'm really glad we could do this and get this race restreamed.
I am as well. It was a very fun one for sure, and enjoy doing it with you, Drosy, and anyone else out there watching. Hope you had a good time as well, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.